So, I stated this once, and I'll say it again. We all know the trend of most reboots nowadays. They take a classic property and make it nothing like the original. A couple of months ago, I reviewed what I believe to be the best reboot, the Teletubbies reboot. And if you remember, in that video, I stated that I would be covering 4 reboots this year. The Teletubbies reboot was the first of those. But today, like the old saying goes, you finish what you started. As in this video, I'll be covering 3 reboots in one go, all under the following. The good, which is Barney's World, the bad, which is the Villa reboot, and the ugly, which is... All engines go. Yes, I know I stated in my penultimate 24 Days of Thomas video that I would never go near this monstrosity of a reboot. But, as much as I hate to say this, I am of course a completionist. And after this, I will have covered every single piece of mainline Thomas material, which includes all 24 original series seasons, all 14 movies, and now this. The pilot doesn't count because that's secondary material. And for the record, I am never touching these disgraces of YouTube Shorts. Not now, not ever. Because I ain't wasting my time watching whatever the happens in these shorts again. Now, of course, all of these are just my opinion. If you happen to like or dislike any of these reboots, that's completely fine. Just feel free to leave a comment on what you agree and / or disagree with. And, well, I guess we shall waste no time and hop into these 3 reboots that are a bit of a mixed quality. Starting with Barney's World. Now, if you've been a long-time follower on my channel, you may remember my mixed feelings upon seeing Barney's CGI redesign. But it's grown on me a little bit. It's not great or anything, but still a passable redesign. And random side note, I still don't blame Ultimate for wanting to burn down this thing considering what she said about her childhood experience with Barney. But if she thought that was bad, oh, just imagine what her reaction would be upon seeing season 12 of Thomas. I could just picture her reaction to this shit. But I'm getting sidetracked here. Get it? Sidetracked? Because it's Thomas. Now, for the sake of this video, I only watched a handful of episodes from this show. Because I just couldn't be bothered to put myself through watching the whole thing. But even with that, I still found myself enjoying it. I mean...
Hold it up freaking there, minute!
What do you want now, Barney? I'm in the middle of reviewing something here.
I told you to not review Barney's World, but you clearly did not listen to me. It seems like you need to clean your ears.
Listen, Barney, I'm only reviewing this thing just to get the point across. So, would you please go so that I can review it without any interference? I mean, you know what happened when Jean-Michel Cousteau lost his mind over the Nemo trio interrupting him that one time?
Fine, but next time, review something that will not piss me off.
Thank you. Where were we? Oh yeah, Barney's World. I found it to be solid. Not great by any means, but still quite enjoyable. Now, for these reviews, I'll be going over the positives and their negatives, and for the latter two, why they are inferior to their original series. First off, the animation here is very good, almost on par with Nitrogen's animation for the early seasons of Thomas. The lighting looks nice, especially in the Lovey 2 episode where it takes place completely at night. Considering this was done by the same company who animated another reboot we'll get to, it's really surprising how good Nelvana's animation here looks. I mean, Nelvana is no stranger to CGI animated cartoons, but this is nice. I'm not sure how to feel about the designs for the dinos though. Bonnie's looks fine, like I said, but Baby Bop's and BJ's looks a little off-putting to me, but maybe that's just me. The voice cast here for the most part is solid. Bonnie's new voice was surprisingly good. It's no Dean Went or anything, but it's still a solid voice. But I think Mel's voice may be my favourite. I don't know, there's just something about her speaking Spanish in some parts that I quite like. Plus, she's cute. I like cute characters. And it's nice she got a spotlight episode at one point. And the new theme song and the new I Love You and cleanup songs are alright. Not as same as the old songs, but they're still catchy enough. And lastly, despite how silly these episodes are, I like their concepts. They're quite unique for this new show, even if one of them kinda rips off It's Your Birthday Barney from the original series. In fact, I'd say that Loving Me 2 is the best out of the episodes I've watched from this show so far. I don't know, something about the lighting just really does it for me. Okay, time to nitpick about this show. The first is that I find it weird that we don't get the plush Barney doll intro anymore. Instead, it's replaced with the three kids either standing on three podiums or calling out Barney's name, with Barney spawning from this dino tree. Yeah, it's not the same as the plush transformation in the original series. That's something that has become so iconic for so long, going even as far back as the Backyard Gang. Another is that I wish we got to see more kids in this show instead of the usual three like in the original. Like, in the original, you never knew what kid characters were going to show up in every episode. And about BJ. What was with changing his name to Billy? What was wrong with the old name? And while Baby Bop's BA is spot on to her original voice, BJ's voice in this new series is just bad.
Oh, golly. Hi, friends. I'm so excited to see you. I can't stop wagging my tail. Look at it go.
I'm sorry, but the lower pitched voice just doesn't fit. It's the only voice of the whole show that I straight up do not like. Man, BJ was really done dirty in this new series. Oh, and where's Riff? He was one of my favorite characters in the original series. Not to mention that he's voiced by the same actress who would later go on to voice V in Owl House. I mean, Mr. Boyd of all characters appeared from what I've seen. So, why didn't Riff return? Hopefully Mattel will bring him back in the future though, because this dino fleet is not the same without Riff. But all in all, Barney's World is a super duper solid watch. It's one of the better reboots I have seen from the episodes I've seen so far. Though of course, nothing beats the original Barney and Friends for me. For nostalgic reasons anyway. But I still like it. But not a reboot I would go out of my way to watch from time to time. But if you want to go ahead and watch it, then be my guest. You may or may not have a decent time with it. But just watch the original Barney and Friends run if it's not to your taste. But at least it's better than the next two reboots we have to cover. Okay, one down, two to go. Next is one of two reboots I bet you all have been waiting for me to tear into. The Bob the Builder reboot from 2015. It's all gonna go downhill from here, so brace yourselves for a hellhole of a time. The Bob the Builder reboot is, well, to put it bluntly, not the same as the original. It's almost as if the people at Mattel didn't even watch the original and was like, yeah, this thing's been canned for 4 years, so may as well bring it back in a new light. But let's milk it because we don't care. Seriously? As if fans weren't already fed up with where the show was going with what Ready City Build gave us. They just didn't suffer enough, I suppose. Where do I even start with this thing? I guess we'll start with the theme song. It's actually alright. It's just as much of a bop as the original theme song, though not really the same as it lyrics-wise. While mostly it's the same, there are a few altered lyrics, like Dizzy and Rolly being replaced in the song by newcomers Two-Ton and Leo. What was the point in changing that? But perhaps the most frustrating change in the song is the working together to get the job done lyric. The words working together to is completely removed in the TV airing version. But what's worse is that it's in the extended version of the song. Like, if the singer has already recorded the line, then why didn't you people just bother to put the bloody lyric in? Honest to God. But we're not even scratching the surface with what's wrong with this reboot. Just as if the characters were starting to feel slightly out of character in Ready City Build, suddenly they now feel even less like how they behaved in the original. Muck is now a dumbass akin to Paxton. Lofty is now more friendlier, intelligent, and is not even scared of anything. And Scoop? Good lord. If you thought Scoop's big job portrayed him bad enough, then you haven't seen shit, believe me. Because, dear Lord Scoop, what did they do to you? I'm not even going to waste my time going into how the reboot killed Scoop, because I have so much to say about AEG later on. And yeah, I should address the elephant in the room. Dizzy and Rolly are no longer a part of the main cast. Instead, they have been given the Edward and Henry treatment. And this was even before this happened. They are now secondary characters, which makes no sense considering that we have come to know them as main characters. And they're quite important to a job, don't you think? But no, instead, these episodes have to focus on the yellow d***, the red dumbass, and the blue guy with a big brain cell. And while the subject of characters, unlike most Thomas characters, and previous OG Bob the Builder characters in general, these characters just appear with no build-up or introduction whatsoever. Well, except for the newbies in Mega Machines. Which, by the way, why did this reboot need a movie? Haven't we already been through enough? And I have nothing to say about these guys. They just appear, and they don't have any clear personalities. Except for maybe Two-Ton, but that's the exception. Oh, and Lil Edisno here. I also have a bit of a soft spot for the Spring City Rockets, especially Safi. I don't know, something about her just really hits home for me. Oh, and Mr. Bentley is no longer a building inspector. Now he's the assistant of Mayor Madison, and he's now a comic relief buffoon. Farmer Pickles also appears in Season 3. But he's just there. Like, you could have just thrown in Travis or something. Or maybe bring back Spud. Well, then again, he would have suffered the same fate as the other human characters with their design, so... fair enough, I guess. Oh, and Pilchard just exists in this reboot. I have nothing to say about her. And speaking of the episodes, all of them are just so formulaic. The episodes for Ready Steady Build were kinda like that, but at least they change up the locations every now and then. Here, it's just the same shit. You thought Special Delivery Service was formulaic? Well, guess what? I like it, so get over it. The team sets out on a job, they start building, insert main character has a stupid idea, f***s up everything, apologizes, it gets rebuilt because they always have to have a second set because plot. It's all built and everyone's happy. Hooray! It's all so formulaic. It feels like these were all written in a single night. And it feels like Nitrogen Era Thomas all over again. Not as formulaic as that, but still. And the cherry on top of that is we are a team being used in every single episode. This is another Let's Be Brave situation where, on its own, separate from the content it's connected to, it's not a bad song. But when it's used in every single episode, it gets so unbelievably repetitive. But the thing that I have not brought up yet with this reboot is the animation. Because goddammit, I need to mention this. While the lighting is really good, for the first 2 seasons anyway, the look and feel of what this reboot is going for completely strays away from what the original series was going for. Gone is the fun, cartoony, stop-motion design for the world, with the trees literally being cardboard cutouts. Like, you can't get more stop-motion than that. And now, everything is more realistic. This is not the same world anymore. The character designs of both the humans and machines don't even come close to what they looked like in the original stop-motion series and, by extension, Ready Steady Build. Ironically, Thomas went down the complete opposite road Bob did, because that started out with being somewhat realistic, to then slowly starting to phase into cartoony territory, with what we're about to cover in a moment being the low point of that. But you may have heard that I mentioned the first 2 seasons animation-wise. That's because Season 3 has some of the worst CGI animation I have ever seen to come from a cartoon. Like, ever. I didn't think it was possible, but it sure f***ing did. The animation for Season 3 feels so different from the first 2 seasons. It feels like something from an Android game or something. Everything's so bouncy and cartoony, and the lighting is just so dull. Almost as if they're trying to do a similar animation style to the original series. But they absolutely failed in doing so. Because this feels completely different to the rest of the reboot. A little too late, being honest with you, Mattel. So yeah, that was the Bob the Builder reboot for ya. A complete and utter disaster of a reboot that I initially thought was okay. But over time, the more I looked at it, and the more I heard from many people's point of view, the more I started to hate it. But let me tell you, it is not the worst reboot I have seen. There is barely anything here that I find to quite like, apart from maybe the animation from seasons 1 and 2. But good animation ultimately means nothing if it's not tied to good content. as this reboot has none of that. The Bob the Builder reboot fails in achieving what made the original series so groundbreaking. And it's not really surprising that it was cancelled after only 3 seasons, because this does not feel like the same world we came to know. Ah! Let's get this last reboot review over with. All Legends Go is the worst thing to happen to Thomas, and it is the absolute worst reboot I have ever seen. And I used to like this reboot. Why? What was I thinking back then? There is absolutely nothing interesting I can point out about this reboot. Because if Big World Big Adventures wasn't enough for fans to put up with, this just straight up feels as if Mattel didn't even give a shit with what they would do with the show anymore. Until 2025, of course, but we'll get to that. Let's begin with the animation. It absolutely does not feel right for this franchise. It feels like a late 2000s kind of animation instead of 2020's animation. And it genuinely feels like the animation you would find in something like My Little Pony. And that's actually a good usage of 2D animation. And I have seen better 2D animated series. Owl House especially, if you've been following my channel for a while now. And not to mention that the engines can now squash and stretch and use their wheels as their hands. Like, this isn't Cars. This is Thomas the Tank Engine. For God's sake, Mattel. The old characters don't feel like themselves anymore. After 8 whole seasons of the original series where they mostly felt like themselves, now they're just out of character again. Thomas, Percy, and Diesel are now portrayed as literal kids. They're not supposed to be kids! Not to mention that Diesel is Thomas's friend now. Like, since when were they friends? Yeah, the ending of Springtime for Diesel did glimpse at Diesel changing his ways. But like, if you're going to handle that, don't do it like this for God's sake. And they ruined Nia as well. Now she's also portrayed as a kid. And where's her Kenyan accent? Like, Mattel just ruined their own character. Gordon is now a father figure. Emily and James barely appear. Cranky's... Okay, I'll give him a pass because it's Cranky. Fat Hat is there. And Edwin and Henry have been given the silent treatment. Great. Oh, and Annie, Clarabelle, and the Troublesome Trucks now have the ability to move. Why? They're rolling stock! And not even the returning characters like Ashima, Hero, and Darcy can save this. Because in Trevor Davis's words, bringing back old characters isn't making the reboot any better. If anything, it's just pandering to fan service. Oh, and don't even get me started on the whole drama with Duck. Oh, and don't even get me started on what they did to poor Carly. No longer is she a crane at Brendan Docks. Now she's... a moving crane like the likes of Kevin? Why? And most of the newbies are basic and bland. They have nothing unique to them, and all of them fall into the bad characters territory. Well, maybe except for Kana. She's a bland character, yes, but she's probably the only one I could see working in the CGI series. If they just give her a decent personality that sticks out, and maybe give her a voice that sounds tasteful and not childlike, then yeah, she could work. Like, maybe have Tara Strong voice her or something, I don't know. The songs... yeah, they're just bad, okay? None of the songs here stick out, and they're just as bad as those stupid songs from stuff like the nursery rhyme shorts. And God, does the theme song suck. One of the worst theme songs I've heard in my entire life. Not to mention that they butchered the Down the Hills and Round the Bends lyric. Like, don't believe me? Take a listen.
Down the hills and round the whoa! Down the hills and round the bends.
And the episodes just straight up suck. I have nothing to say on these. There is no good, or at best, decent episodes in this series. And most of them rip off episodes from the original series. That's just how bad they are on average. And if you exclude the adult actors like Neil Crone and Kayla Lorette, the voice acting here is some of the worst voice acting I have ever seen in a cartoon. You could literally throw any other baby show character on top of this, and it wouldn't make much of a difference. And I think we're done. All Engines Go is insufferable, baffling, and a complete disgrace of a reboot and to this franchise. I never want to sit through this torture ever again. Honestly, I'd take Misty Island Rescue over this, and that's saying a lot. And Mattel, you should be ashamed of yourselves for making this mess, because for a while, you completely destroyed what made this franchise so appealing, and turned it into the likes of any other baby show out there. And that's why I am so glad that this thing is cancelled for good, so the fans won't have to suffer through this torture again, and the true Thomas we know is gonna come back from the dead. If the 2025 merge and the pilot episode is anything to go by. Mattel, if you're watching this right now, please treat this franchise better in future, because us fans deserve better than what they had to witness for 5 years straight. F*** this reboot. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. And what a ride it was. We witnessed 3 mixed quality reboots. And, admittedly, it was kind of fascinating seeing the quality vary across these. Honestly, I still think doing the Push Me Pull You video was the toughest video I have done this year. But this was a very close second. Having to cover the one thing from my favorite franchise that all of us have come to despise was something that I never would have thought I would do. But after its cancellation, I figured I'd have the motivation to explain why it was a complete disgrace to this franchise. Hopefully Mattel will bring us good quality Thomas content again after the pilot's release, because we have already suffered enough with their decisions with the show. Let me know what you guys think of these 3 reboots in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video though, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date and to not miss out on the newest content. Until the next video, bye guys.